everybody. Welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. It is episode 121. And with me are my two excellent cohorts and I guess best friends, I suppose. To my left is John Tracy, and to my right is Mr. Steve Murray. And of course, Matt Craig, we are all happy you are with us. Mr. Steve Murray has a lot of explaining himself to do since he was absent from last week. So, Steve, first of all, one, how are you doing? And two, where the hell were you?
One, none of your damn business. Two, none of your damn business.
And
Not
three,
so-
you mentioned it on the podcast last week, so you already
Exactly.
know where it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so we had a tournament in Hershey last weekend, and the accommodations were not such that recording would have been a viable option. So unfortunately, I had to bail at the last minute. But you guys did good.
Oh,
yeah.
you.
And now we're all going to lick our microphones and try to return them. See how
Nice.
Nice.
Best Buy, here we come.
There you go. Yeah, I got to return this. No. And now we're good. John, how you doing down there in Texas? What's going on there, man?
I'm great. That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all you got. Okay, that's all you got. All right, I'm doing okay.
Go Birds!
Yes.
Yeah, huge game.
I'm saving all my energy for tonight.
Hell yeah!
Just to yell and scream and cuss bad things of New York people and New York fans and New York
I thought
in
we were doing
general
that for
the Giants.
I thought we were doing that for topic 4.
Oh, I hate them. I hate them every day. It's not just today. It's every day. Rangers, Islanders, Yankees, Mets. It doesn't matter. Giants, Jets. Knicks. It does not matter. I hate their WNBA team.
Matt and I learned some interesting geography while we were in pre-production.
Yeah,
about New York that I was not aware of.
Yeah, unfortunately we did. We had to learn about the 5 stupid, stinky boroughs of that stupid town in New York.
Which were the two? There's actually 2 of them that are on Long Island.
Long Island, man.
It was what was it? Bronx and Queens.
Mm-hmm.
Were they
in Queens, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they're actually on Long Island. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Stupid Long Island. Yeah. Yeah, because I think we were trying to figure out like where are the Islanders back, you know, because I think they had to move out of that stupid dump, Nassau Coliseum, into another stupid dump, like where the Brooklyn Nets play. And then they felt like, oh, wait a minute, this sucks because we have our overhead scoreboard is off center. It's like on the blue line. Like, really? I mean, then you had to build a new arena and then move back across, Long Island. Are you kidding me? Like,
yeah, that's what stirred my curiosity was because when they were in Brooklyn, I'm like, well, isn't it stupid they're called the Islanders if they're no longer on Long Island? But it turns out Brooklyn is part of Long Island. So
interesting.
Yeah. But their new stadium is like right on the other side of a highway that appears to be the dividing line between Queens and whatever is to the
whatever
east
that
of
piece
it
of
on
other
Long
crap
Island.
is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Matt didn't know the Hamptons were on Long Island.
Yeah, I thought they were like in what? Like
I thought they were. I thought they were in Connecticut, but it was like
that's
New
what
York,
I thought.
Connecticut line. That's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's
what
they
were
on
like further on.
Yeah.
They're at the far eastern, I guess, end of Long Island.
Yep.
So like the complete opposite from where Brooklyn is, which is near Connecticut, but it's not Connecticut.
No. Yeah. But it made sense for like George. I mean, in Seinfeld, that was like the most hilarious bit. Why did you make me drive you all the way out here? Because we don't like you, George. We always blamed you for Susan's death.
Look, there's worse places that they could have forced him to drive than the Hamptons. For that.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Exactly right. Oh man. Well, that without being that out of the way, gentlemen, I guess why don't we go ahead and with our fun fact and over 40 rant. And of course, they're both sponsored by W Energy Drinks. Go to w.gg And when you place an order there, there's a promo code, Too Noobs Talking. That's TOO, Noobs Talking, all one word. You get 10% off your order. And Blue Raspberry, guys, is still available if you want it. So go to w.gg and go ahead and place your order. Make sure to use that promo code, Too Noobs Talking. So who wants to go first, Johnny or
I
Steve?
will go
What do you got?
first. I will go first
There you
because
go.
we'll keep with the New York thing. As me and Steve were talking during this week, we were hating on New York and people not named whatever the hell his name is, Norman. I tripped upon a fun fact that I didn't know. So I have one thing that I actually do like about New York.
He was very excited. He would not
Yes,
share this with me during pre-production.
It turns out in 1905 they opened the first pizzeria in the United States, and a New York style pizza is what this Lombardi's is known for. So it was basically the birth of the New York style pizza, which we now know as most pizza is New York style. And yeah, 1905 it opened up in Manhattan. Before it was Manhattan, but it opened up in around Manhattan.
Interesting.
What? All right. So I don't understand exactly what New York style means because I've seen pizzerias advertise as a different type New York style. I know what Chicago style is. I think I know what Detroit style is.
Yep.
What exactly is New York style supposed to be?
That's a very good question.
From how I understand it, it's the kind of pizza that we all know. It's that
Neapolitan?
No.
Circular.
Yes and no. Yeah, yes and no.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it looks like, it's different. Yeah. Characteristically large, hand-tossed thin crust, often sold in wide slices to go. So you're basically the big, wide
so
slice.
basically like your basic, what you're used to a pizzeria on the East Coast serving is a New York style.
Yeah.
Because I don't get
deep
New
dish.
York. There's one place that does New York style here, but I get a lot of thin crust here. I get a lot of smaller pies. I don't get like the traditional. If I were to come home, to PA and order a pizza, but down like that's not. It's not the way it comes.
Is it big? Is it supposed to be bigger than an ordinary pizza? That sounded like Matt's. What he was reading.
I guess in a way, yeah.
It's like
it's the slice style is what I'm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming from what Matt just read. It's the ones where I want one pepperoni and I want one, and they throw the slice in, and it's a decent sized pizza.
No, that's not New York. That's not New York.
Not Vegas style.
Ordering by the slice is not New York style.
The size of the pizza I'm talking. Like that would be because they're a little bit bigger than if you order it at home. You're not getting a double plate style pizza.
Yeah.
Like you're getting
a box. It says here in Wikipedia, Steve, so you can know that this is coming from an authentic sense.
Well, I'm going to change that as soon as you read it.
The crust is thick and... Hey, wait a minute. Someone's changing it. No. The crust is thick and crisp only along its edge, yet soft, thin, and pliable enough beneath its toppings to be folded in half to eat.
This is fake.
Toppings are simply tomato sauce and shredded mozzarella cheese. So there you go.
I think they're just trying to claim credit for something they shouldn't have credit for.
Yeah, exactly. This style evolved in the U.S. This style evolved in the U.S. from the pizza that originated in New York City in the early 1900s, to John's point. Itself derived from the Neapolitan-style pizza made in Italy. Today, it is the most dominant style eaten in the New York metropolitan area, states of New York and New Jersey, and is variously popular throughout the United States. Variously popular, I guess. Some people don't like it.
I still don't. So if I order an extra large, that's New York style?
I guess. If you're able to fold it in half,
I think
like you take the slice and you're able to, if you're able to take the slice, fold it in half, it's considered to be New York style. Whatever. I don't really care. It's New York.
Real quick, before we get into the over 40 rant, have you had Chicago style pizza?
I have not. I have
I've
not officially.
had it in Chicago, actually.
Yes.
So, yes.
What did you think compared to, let's just say New York style is what we would get if we were to go out in PA?
Let's not call it New York style. If I was going to have a normal pizza, it's I enjoy it. I couldn't eat it, consistently. It's kind of a once in a while thing, just because it's a load in your stomach after you eat it. It's good. I enjoy it, but I wouldn't eat it.
Yeah,
constantly.
it is very good. But Steve is right. And maybe a slice or two. Especially for me, I was done. Like, I'm like, oh, we'll take this with us, but I don't know who the fuck's gonna eat it. Like, jeez.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Steve, what do you got for your over 40 rant? What do you have, man?
Well, I was gonna do something about traffic lights. What the hell?
What the hell?
I guess I'll stick with it because we're gonna rant enough about New York later.
There you go.
Yeah, traffic lights. Can we get some goddamn civil engineers who can orchestrate the traffic lights on a major street so that traffic flow makes sense? Instead of the coordination between lights on different blocks on a single street just doesn't seem to. It hurts my brain. And
Yes.
And also, when you have a main thoroughfare and then you have a light at a tiny side street, and it gets triggered when somebody, pulls onto that street, needs to make a turn. Okay, fine, the light changes. And then you sit there for another minute and a half.
Yeah.
It's like, that light does not need to be that long. So I need civil engineers to take up the mantle of fixing traffic light problems.
There you go.
In this country. And also, I need to bat some people in the head who the light turns green and they're like, I guess it's green. Oh, where's my gas
Wait a minute, I
pedal
gotta
here?
finish texting. I gotta finish texting. Hold on.
Where's my gas pedal? Oh, it's the one on the right. Okay, here it is. If I push that down, I'll go, right? Yeah, I guess so. Okay, look at that. I'm moving slowly.
I gotta tell you a great story. From yesterday. I was that guy, but I'll give a reason. So I was at a light, and this was in a small town, and it went green, and I needed help because it seemed like I would see a green arrow because there was a lot of things going on, and my assumption was I'll get a green arrow, I can go, so if I get a green, I'm going to yield. This sign didn't say that, but it was just a literal traffic light. So it took me 35 seconds to be like, fuck it, I'm going. Like, but I initially was not ready to go because I was expecting something else. So it could be that too.
Did you get a green arrow or not?
No. I got a green light, but it was the right of way for me, which I don't understand.
Oh, so I should have got
an arrow.
So it turned green for you, and it wasn't green for the opposite.
Yeah, but I couldn't see that, and I was just assuming that I would get an arrow, but I only got a green light, and there was 35 seconds of confusion. Well, because I was expecting one thing and got another.
Given the 20-lane roads they have down in Texas there, you would think they would be a little bit more clear about when you can go.
Exactly.
I was hoping for that.
That's funny. This over 40 rant and John's fun fact brought to you by W Energy Drinks. Go to www.gg.
BUBBY.
GG.
GG. Exactly. All right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and do our first topic here. And speaking of hacking, I think, talking about just picking up Steven's
you said hacking,
maybe
right?
not that.
Oh, sorry.
That's going to be fun to edit post-production, but
You just leave it in.
Speaking of hackers prove it doesn't take much to hijack a dead satellite, gentlemen. This is from this is from popscience.com or popsci.com. There was an interesting article here. It was interesting because it was August of 22, and this just popped in my Facebook feed like the other day. And I'm thinking, like, well, how is this like really? It's like 5 months ago? Okay. I mean, because we should have been all over this when it came out.
Way to be timely, anyway, Facebook. Good job.
Yeah, real timely. Nice job, Zuckerberg. Anyway, With only a $300 piece of equipment and legal access to an uplink station, you too can broadcast war games from a decommissioned Canadian satellite. That's what hacking enthusiast Carl Kosher showed everyone over the weekend. Again, this is August of 22, at the annual DEF CON hacker meetup in Las Vegas. Gents, as a new write-up from Motherboard details, after being granted access to an abandoned uplink facility, Kosher and friends use a software-defined radio called a Hack RF to connect with Canada's defunct Anik F1R satellite last year and, quote, have some fun with it. Apparently, this telecommunications satellite was in geostationary orbit, roughly about 22,000 miles above the Earth, put out the pasture in 2020. No one's using it. Subsequent plans were then to move it into a graveyard orbit into November 21. My guess is that we're going to chuck it into the sun. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't think that's how that works, but
yeah, I don't. My only guess, that kind of
I'm
deal.
starting a rumor that Trudeau does not recycle. Start that right now.
Exactly. Maybe. But apparently, Kosher and fellow buddies with the hacking group Shady Tel, T-E-L, Shady Tel, obtained both a license to use an out-of-use uplink facility along with the Anik F1R satellite's transponder lease. And Kosher, with a great quote here to Motherboard, said this: "What do you do with a satellite? What does a hacker do with a satellite? We had an opportunity to use a satellite that was being decommissioned. We also had the ability to put our own content out there." End quote. And that's exactly what they did. They were able to stream the talks from that year's TorCon hacking conference in San Diego during the day, showing fans favorite films at night. Amazing. Kosher went on to explain how satellites essentially just reflect whatever signals are beamed their way. There's no authentication or anything, he said at the time.
That would seem problematic to me.
I was just going to say, Steve, what are your thoughts on this real quick? What do you got?
Well, I guess we should have known this from Independence Day. The way the aliens were able to hijack our own satellites and use them against us. But
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. You said they had legal access to an uplink tower or something.
Something like that. Yep.
I don't know how easy it would be to run an illegal uplink tower.
Well, this is also Canada, so we don't know. So, we have no idea.
Exactly.
Well, no. The satellite was Canadian, but I think
that's what I'm saying.
That's they were in Vegas, right? So
yeah, I don't know, but it's a Canadian satellite. We don't know how that works. It could be backwards.
Crazy.
It bothers me a little bit. If all you can do is hack into just broadcast, I mean, there's problems with that, but I guess it's better than if you're able to hack into the satellite itself and change its orbit to crash somewhere.
Yeah,
that would be more problematic for
that would suck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Might want to try and direct that away from any residential areas, that kind of a deal. Johnny, what do you think about all of this? This is kind of odd. $300 piece of equipment, and you can, legal access. You can use a decommissioned satellite. What the hell?
I don't want them anywhere near me. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm glad they picked such a noble cause of showing old movies. Like, really cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would. If we're learning about this now, bad people probably already know about this. So this is old news to them. It's new news to us, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It is very problematic if you're going to use it in a bad way. And we might want to, like we talk about everything, we might want to get involved and figure out how to not do this. But I think it's cool that the dude got permission and then did something cool with it to show everybody kind of the capabilities. Like, that's where I kind of took the article. I was like, that's really awesome, because a lot of people can maybe understand how a satellite works a little bit better, because maybe not everybody knows how. So I thought that was a cool part of it. But yeah, the bad people doing bad things, they probably already know. So it doesn't really concern me.
I certainly did not know before that there was no like authentication process to connect to a satellite.
That was actually very shocking to me that it was that simple. Like I thought you'd have to get at least like 12 different kind of codes. Like, how could someone just be like, here, hack it. You're fine. You got it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would have at least thought they would be like my Wi-Fi router or something. You gotta put in a password with numbers and letters and symbols to access it, but apparently not. I mean, I was sitting here thinking, what could you actually broadcast the satellite to?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think your cable television would pick it up. But I don't know.
It's a very good question. Yeah.
It would because you would need a receiver, right? Something on the ground would receive it and then throw it out, because that's how broadcasting works, right?
Right.
Yep.
So what did he? That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. Like, what did he? He of course obtained the satellite. So what did he do? How did he do that?
He probably had to tell the people who were going to access the content, here's where you can find it. They went there and found it, but it's not something where, it doesn't sound at least like it's something where they could broadcast to a satellite and then take over everyone's television and show
no, that would
horrible
be,
things,
Yes.
Like in Man of Steel or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just debunk that really quickly, because there are different cable providers throughout the United States. You can't just hack one of them and it goes everywhere. It's very small regions actually, so it would take a lot.
This isn't like the Italian Job. Yeah, this isn't like the Italian Job. Well, Mark.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
You're able to hack everything, and exactly. It's not like that.
Maybe DirecTV customers should be worried.
Yes. But they should be worried because they have DirecTV.
Exactly. My question too, with like decommissioned satellites, I don't know what you guys are thinking. Like, with how many of these satellites are decommissioned, and what do they do with them? Seriously, I know Steve. Like, I was joking as to whether or not they chuck them into the sun. I don't think they have the capability to do that. Whether or not they just let Earth's gravity just pull it back in, I guess, and they just crash it into the ocean. But it makes me wonder about
I think in some circumstances that is what they do. They change the trajectory so it will fall, and they do it carefully to make sure it lands in an ocean or something.
In an ocean,
But they may also either just leave them there, or you said a graveyard orbit. I would suspect that might be like they let it go farther out where it's not really reachable, but it's still kind of floating out there like space junk.
That's
if
weird.
you remember the movie WALL-E,
he collected a lot of space junk.
Well, when the initial part of the movie, when they zoom in on planet Earth, they go through a layer of old satellites, and I have a suspicion they are just sitting out there like that.
They're just floating out there. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like you have your space trash essentially just floating, circumnavigating the globe enough that it just is out there in a graveyard orbit, where it's just like, okay, we're just going to just float out here and all that kind of stuff. And you never know. But yeah, fascinating. All right, gentlemen, here we go with topic number 2. And I have one question for Steve Murray, coming off the bye week from
Why
last
am I such a
week.
genius?
Well, I already know you're a genius.
Okay.
Yeah, I already know
We
that.
pondered that in our teenage years. We're not pondering it now. We expect it at this point.
You being able to see student variety, which I thought you were, and then you surprised me.
Matt thought I was a derelict until I told him I had straight A's.
Exactly. Until you got straight A's. My question is, can we talk about how we talk about the weather, please? Is that a possibility
Sure.
for our second topic?
Sure, absolutely. That's why I sent you the article.
Let's do it. Last week, days after a bomb cyclone, coupled with a series of atmospheric rivers, some of the Pineapple Express variety okay, took devastating aim at California. A downtown conference center here was inundated by the forces responsible, not for the pounding rain, gentlemen, and wind, but for the forecast. Dun dun dun. Scores of the world's most authoritative meteorologists and weather scientists gathered to share the latest research at the 103rd meeting of the American Meteorological Society. John, don't you wish you were a part of the AMS right
That's
there?
at least $250 a plate. Easy.
The subject line of an email to participants on the first day projected optimism. Daily forecast, a flood of scientific knowledge. That's one hell of an email that you're going to get. I mean, that's unbelievable. But there are troubling undercurrents. Scientists are in consensus of the increasing frequency of extreme weather events. The blizzard of Buffalo, which dumped like 7 feet of snow. That's crazy, by the way. That was nuts.
Yep.
Flooding in Montecito, California. Prolonged drought in East Africa and their worrisome effects. At the Denver meeting, however, there was another growing worry. How people talk about the weather. The widespread use of colorful terms like bomb cyclone, atmospheric river, along with the proliferating categories, colors, names of storms, weather patterns, has struck meteorologists as a mixed blessing. Good for public safety and climate change awareness, but potentially so amplified that it leaves the public numb to or unsure of the actual risk. Dun, dun, dun. Steve, your thoughts on this. What do you think about how we talk about the weather, pal? What do you got?
Bomb cyclone. I mean,
Bomb
really?
cyclone, baby.
Why? We see the murder blizzard up here in the Northwest, and this line of storms heading east, that's the raper. And kill, says this rain cloud over here.
Yeah.
They do it to, get. Look, see, it's got me speechless because of how bad it is.
Clickbait.
Back when I was a young lad, watched the Weather Channel constantly because we only had 7 channels. And
exactly. And sometimes it was fun to watch the Weather Channel.
Right, exactly.
How could you not like MS-DOS back in the day when you had the whole colorful dots and
every 8
everything?
minutes you had your local forecast pop up. And you would have some nice gentleman or some nice lady can't come stand in front of a map and explain to you where the fronts were going and where it was going to rain and where it was going to snow, etc. But now, years later, we've got idiots going, "Oh, there's a bomb cyclone coming." Oh, I got a half-inch of rain out of the last one that passed over. Just, didn't really affect even my drive to work. It's John's ESPN symptom all over again. It's just they do it for ratings. They do it for the Weather Channel. You can't even get local on the 8s anymore. You turn that on after 8 p.m. and you're getting some documentary show.
Yeah.
It's not even about the weather.
It's not even about the weather. Yeah. And their Weather Channel app is a piece of trash. It crashes every single time I open it. It is the worst app imaginable. Awful.
The one piece of the thing that I always want to look at is the radar, because I know how to read it and I want to see where it's coming from, where it's going, I can judge exactly what's going to happen if I need to bail out my basement or not. Right? And their radar is just total garbage.
It's garbage.
Total
garbage. Yeah, exactly. My favorite term is derecho. I remember when that came on board, and they were, of course, like they were talking about, this is really strong or Arctic air coming out, and I'm thinking, like, it's just a damn front with a ton of rain. Like, seriously, like, why do we have to rename all of these individual things that I've never even heard of? Like when I was first growing up, like, what the hell? It's like I don't get that at all. Steve or John, I gotta love this because this is really funny. Cindy Breyer, who is the director of the Capacity Center for Climate and Weather Extremes at the National Center for Atmospheric Research.
Does she have a liberal arts degree?
I seriously, right?
I wonder.
Really?
I wonder. I really wonder. That was the first question.
I lost track of that acronym. Sorry.
That is the CCCWENCAR. That is what it is.
Can I make a plea? Can I make a plea to my upper management at work? Can you please just you don't even have to pay me more. Can you just give me a ridiculous acronym now? Can I
Yeah.
have something that has 47 different letters and means what I do now? Can we just do that? It would make me feel so whole as a person.
Yeah. Like that to me is just like, it is so utterly ridiculous when you read something like that. It's like, really, it's like a sentence and a half long. And I agree. John, what has she got? Like a liberal arts degree or a science degree or something, like a BS degree, Bachelor of Science, not BS, actual BS degree.
I mean, if you get a degree, it's not BS. Like you actually put the work.
Exactly.
We're not saying that.
Exactly.
We're not saying that at all.
She did have some good quotes here, though. I have zero pictures in my head when I hear the term bomb cyclone. Yeah.
I picture extreme violence when I hear that term.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And she follows up, we need significantly clearer language, not hyped words. I think less violent language goes a long way for this. Just report what's going to happen, what precautions you need to take, things along those lines. Andrea Lopez Lang, an atmospheric scientist at the State University of New York in Albany, well, not as long, said this: the worst is polar vortex. You hear that all the time up here in the Northeast. Oh, this polar vortex is coming in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. She says that's the worst. Basically, she says also this, but in the last decade, people are starting to describe it as cold air on the ground level. Yeah. I mean,
makes sense.
You hear that term and it's like, well, what the hell are they talking about? It's just going to get colder.
It's going to be 15 degrees instead of 30 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So that's what it means.
So you got to bundle up more. Like, what? Yeah, why do we have to have this? And, but yeah, it's interesting. In an effort to contain the runaway verbiage, weather scientists have begun to study the effect of extreme weather language. Well, it's about time. How do people react when the weather is communicated? Do they take proper precautions or do they tune it out? And that's the latter. I think that's what's happening. A lot of people are tuning this out. You do not.
I work outside. I work outside, and one of the major things that I have to do in preparation of a day is check the weather. I don't, because I don't care, because it's you know how many times we were getting 6 feet of rain and everything was going to be flooded and it never rained where I was. I have a it's one of these things that I do. I have a saying for when my overbearing person that I work with that follows the weather all day and freaks out about every little front that's coming in and he's basically a symptom of the system. And he'll go, it's gonna rain in 4 hours. And I go, yeah, that's why I have a raincoat on the truck.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be cold. It's why I have a spare hoodie in the upper compartment for when it gets colder. Like, live your life. Stop listening to these people, because they take the average person and turn them into weather freaks. And now your entire day, think about it, now your entire day is worrying about if it's going to drop 10 degrees. Put a coat on.
Yeah.
Put a raincoat on. Why not just bring 2 coats with you? What is the reason of leaving one home because the weather person told you to? Just put one in your car. Oh, shit, it's raining. I'll put my raincoat on. Oh, shit, it's colder. I'll put my winter coat on. Oh, my God, I got an extra pair of shoes in my car, in case it floods. What? Like, we can't plan ahead? I don't understand. I don't understand the obsession with it at all. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
And yet I've still not been in a situation. I was in a tropical storm that didn't really get me wet. I was working in a tropical storm and it didn't get me wet. Because I called the office and said, hey, this tropical storm, and there's no power on this side of the city. Can I go to the other side of the city where there's power? Yeah, no problem, John. Drove over there, barely got wet. Because I was inside a truck the whole time, so it's not like... I don't understand the obsession of it at all. It's scary to me. It really is.
I agree. Steve, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Yeah, I like how naming storms used to be reserved for hurricanes, which are, important to pay attention to. That's when you can be, extreme and serious in the weather because they do pose a threat. But
And
now
they do
every
that for
time
insurance purposes. Obviously, they do that for
Yeah.
insurance purposes. Yeah.
Well, you have to. Yeah.
every
absolutely.
time it snows now, we have to have a name. Oh, it's snowstorm Fred making its way across Wisconsin. Oh yeah, we got to prepare for Fred because he's going to dump some snow. Oh, good, we got 3 inches of snow. Fred, I'm going to go out sledding now. Really
But why
needed to
is
watch
Fred-
out for Fred.
Why is Fred important? I don't understand.
Yeah, well, the
Especially in
only thing that I can
Wisconsin,
think of,
they get snow like
they
that.
get snow all the time.
Why can't you just
Similarly
say,
yeah.
it's going to snow?
Yeah,
Be prepared for snow. Why
Yeah.
does it need a name?
yeah,
Come on.
exactly.
It's weird.
It also and really to close this out, really, this is interesting. In the article here, a social scientist sitting on the floor, named Castle Williams said this quote: "I got a text from a family member this weekend that said, 'Is an atmospheric river a real thing?' She thought it was a made-up word for intense rainfall." Ding, ding, ding. I think exactly right.
Yeah.
And then he added, this Castle Williams dude said this, quote, "I gave her a lot of information about atmospheric rivers." See, that right there is the problem. People don't understand what you're talking about when you say atmospheric river, when they know it's just going to be a downpour. If it's a downpour, just call it a downpour.
The
You don't
weather
need to go into
people,
technical jargon. Yeah.
the weather people are on TV to take the weather in its technical terms and dumb it down for the
Yes.
general public.
Yes.
So they should not be using big words from meteorological science on TV without an explanation as to what it means. They should, to Matt's point, just say, it's going to rain a shitload. Better pack your booties and bring your umbrella.
Exactly. Get an umbrella. You're going to need one tomorrow.
Can't say anything better than that. All right, guys, before we hit our third topic, let's check out this clip from our friends at Vinyl Word.
Welcome to the Vinyl Word Podcast, where forgotten spoken word records are revisited with a comedic twist. Join me, Steve Beach,
And me, Brian Mayer, for a trip down memory lane, where records weren't only for music, but also education.
learn to bowl, throw a dinner party, or hit a baseball, all while being tethered to a spinning record on a gigantic stereo.
It was well-intentioned, ineffective, and totally ridiculous. But what other options did they have? And let's be honest, Steve, we can describe the internet the same way.
Yeah. Listen to the Vinyl Word Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Pocket Cast,
Steve,
iHeartRadio,
literally anywhere
Amazon
they get their podcast
Podchaser,
is what
Stitcher,
we're doing.
Deezer.
All right. Yeah, you have to check them out. Our friends at Vinyl Word and on Spotify. So yeah, go ahead and check them out for that. All right, guys. Third topic here, as we roll right along with episode 121 of Two Noobs. Apple. This must have given you guys so much glee over this whole thing.
Oh, I was in such heaven reading this article. It was so nice.
I'm sitting over here all appled up over here, and you guys, you nerds over there with your Android devices. Oh, you think you're so smart. Apple faces third class action lawsuit over data collection after a story on Gizmodo.com. No one who understands tech products work will be surprised to learn that Apple collects analytics data about how you use your iPhone. But a lot of people were surprised. I saw that. A lot of people were surprised to learn that Apple collects that data even when the company's own privacy settings promise not to do so. So surprised, in fact, that they filed lawsuits. Apple is now facing...
Sorry.
Big tech. Apple is facing a third class action lawsuit over the issue. This time it's in New York State, marking the third legal action against the company over this data dilemma. The case asks for a cool $5 million, baby, in damages. If they give out loyalty punch cards for lawsuits, Apple would be well on its way to a free class action case.
Wasn't $5 million what the lady who was defrauded in the trailer? Is that like the magic number or something?
There was like
It
$5
must
million
be. It must be.
for the guys that wanted to sue Universal
Right.
Studios for the whole with the, and there was another $5 million I think for the Kraft lawsuit.
Oh,
Remember, with
yeah.
the mac and cheese
Yeah,
nonsense.
That was
no,
$5
That
million
went
too?
over. So that was $5 million too. Yeah.
Steve, I'm starting to think
$5
at
million.
next lawsuit you should just ask for $5 million and give them whatever they want it and take the rest. You'll be fine because apparently everybody's
exactly.
doing it.
Like it.
And build the hockey rink that you've always wanted,
Yeah, there you
Steve. I
go.
mean, that's the whole thing, right? At the
Like
end of the day. At some point, Apple will defend its privacy practices in court. So far, though, the company refuses to defend itself. To Gizmodo or any other media outlet, they will not talk about it. They asked Apple about the problem on 6 separate occasions. Since Gizmodo exclusively reported on the problem last November, but my boys at Apple, guys, they just didn't respond. Still hasn't said anything publicly about the issue. Text of the third lawsuit is nearly identical to that of the second class action lawsuit, which is amazing to me.
Not to me. I think
Paul
they probably
Whelan.
just copied it.
Oh yeah, it was probably copy paste.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no question about it.
If somebody's done it once successfully, you copy it.
Yeah, exactly.
That would make sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. The iPhone Analytics privacy settings says that it will disable the sharing of device analytics altogether when you turn it off. Apple's analytics privacy policy goes on to say that none of the collected information identifies you personally. I doubt it. When researchers from the software development company MISC tested those claims, though, they found that neither was true. Had no effects on the analytics data when that switch was turned off. It was sent from Apple apps, including the App Store, Apple Music, Apple TV, books, stocks. That data includes detailed real-time information about everything you're doing in those certain apps. Not only things you type or tap on, but even how long you spend on certain pages.
Hear that, Glenn?
Yeah,
On your
and which
Apple
ads
phone?
you see. Yeah.
Text me
Johnny,
if you heard that.
Exactly. Shout out to Glenn down there in North Carolina, baby. How you doing?
Yeah, we love you. Apple's stupid.
Johnny, your immediate reaction to this,
I mean,
because I know you have an iPhone too.
I mean, I have an iPhone and it's updating. My software update's complete, by the way.
Oh, well, there you go.
It just decided to do it on its own during the podcast.
Well, it
just
had
put
your
it over there
social
and let
security
it-
number.
yeah.
It had
Exactly.
your social security number,
blood
so it all
type
went
and-
through. It's all good.
Yeah, there you go. And blood type and all that kind of good stuff.
I
What do you got?
I use an Android phone. I use a Samsung Android phone for work. I use an Apple for my personal, just because I haven't changed over yet to a Samsung phone. I will be, soon.
That's unfortunate.
Apple's
Okay.
been full of shit for so long. None of this
I
is
guess so.
none of this is shocking. They are a marketing company. They are not a tech company at all. They are a marketing company. They've
Yeah.
decided to play this game with their fancy little, look, you get the iPhone 14. Oh, by the way, 2 months later, the Plus comes out, then the Mega, and then the Omega, and then the Apple that will wipe your ass comes out, and $2,000,
the Pro Max will
$2,000,
come out.
$2,000.
Yeah.
They've been doing this since the iPhone 4,
Yeah.
and a
Since
lot
the
of
iPod.
people have got caught up in it. Apple,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Apple's like every other. I use both phones. They're very similar. There's no difference. The with the operating, but the thing that I understand with the Samsung when I use it, it only does what I ask it to do. It does not do things that it doesn't. My Samsung the other day had to update.
Yeah.
It asked me if it could update. Please press yes. It's only gonna take 35 minutes. Do you want to do it now? You could set a time to do it. I'm like, well,
2
I
a.m.
get off.
That's what mine does.
Yeah,
2
exactly.
a.m.
I was like, hey, I get off at do it at 6. I'll be off of work by that time. The phone will be off already. You can turn yourself on and do an update. It said not a problem, and it handled it by itself. This piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm doing a podcast recording, and it's like, well, we got to update. We're in fucking cahoots. Like, I don't want you to update, but you just fucking update it, you piece of shit. Like, They're so full of shit. I'm glad they're getting sued, and I hope you can file one in each state, and someone just copy and paste it and does it in all 50 states. Because
it does it again.
Someone needs to stand up to these friggin' tech idiots, and I'm glad it's happening. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah. You're a nerd, being an Android thing. I'm just trying to save face over here.
Well, John and I,
every single thing is my Apple products.
John and I can take solace in the fact that we will not be in the next human centipede like you will. That's a South Park reference if you don't get it.
By the way, just so you know too, this is all being recorded and sent on an Apple computer, so this podcast might not come out after that. So if you guys are seeing episode 122, do not worry about 121. It didn't happen. Didn't happen. Apple said so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, okay, so it's obvious. Yes, I'm a full Apple user and have been for quite a while. I mean, since 2000 and I want to say 7 or 8 when I was like hooked onto the iPod, really.
Which shocked me.
That was the start for me.
Which shocked me when you told me you were an Apple user.
Yeah.
I did not expect it.
Yeah, and I've used the iPads, and like back in the day, obviously when Steve Jobs was the CEO, it had like, real good people behind it. But now, it's, to your point, John, you're exactly right. It's just a machine, and all they're doing is just cranking out. You got to get this. You got to get this. You got to get that. And really, you can set your watch to almost like, well, okay, 3 years, this iPhone 12 that I've got now, I know I'm going to have to replace it with the iPhone 16 whenever that comes out in the next couple of years. It's just a matter of time before that happens.
You're lucky you can get through 4 generations before you have to.
Exactly.
Apple users
I'm at the fourth. Yes. I'm at the 4th generation now. Like this is 4 generations. So.
Yeah. And so when you have that, it's like there's that pressure to kind of say, well, you got to invest in us, right? You're going to come back to us, right? And I'm like,
because they're marketing.
Because it's like
they're marketing geniuses.
Yeah. They're marketing geniuses. That's what they do. That's all they do, basically. And all you're doing is paying for a camera. That's all you're doing when it comes to that. Yeah. But when it comes to the operating system, I told Steve this in pre-production. There have been a couple of different times where Apple's like update will be like, this is an absolute must. You must.
Yes.
You absolutely must update this to this operating system. If you don't, you are liable for losing your data. That should get you to think, right?
Yeah, because they don't have a good
in that regard.
Wise man once told me the reason Apple phones don't get hacked is because nobody wants to spend the time to do something that easy. Like they would rather try to hack Samsung because it's harder to do that. They don't have a good supporting system, and this is not like Samsung, Google. They all are a part of this. It's just that their phones at this point have surpassed Apple, and Apple has only been marketing, and Samsung and Google and those phones actually are trying to make better phones.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my beef with Apple big time is it's the same thing over and over again. It really is. Like they're all, I like that Samsung has changed and grown, and there's so many different things and changes that they made to make the phones better now.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, what do you think in this
well,
whole thing?
just to piggyback on that last comment, I was watching Tron Legacy a couple weeks ago, and there's a scene in there that makes me think of this, where they're going to roll out NCOM OS 10, and the one guy on the board who's like, old school, he's like, so what kind of improvements are we giving in this OS 10? He's like, well, we put a 10 on the box.
Yeah, pretty much.
That kind of reminds me of Apple's strategy with their phones.
Pretty much. There's no legitimate difference. I've had a 4, a 6, and a 10. There is no. It's bigger. like, it's bigger than the
Well,
4.
You notice that
but
they were
it's like this,
they
it's
were
like
like
yeah.
they were like shrink, and then it's like no, too small, make it bigger, make it bigger.
Go. It's
Crazy.
Right? No, I agree with John. You know, we're not under the impression that our phones are not stealing data as well. But
yes.
you know, when you're stupid enough to get caught, like Apple, like that's the thing that bothers me. We all know it happens, but if they tell you you can stop it with this, you know, just flick this switch and you're good. It's not going to steal your data, and it doesn't work.
Stop it.
They're lying. Yeah, that's bullshit. That's you know that's not good customer service, and it should be called out for what it is. I mean, that's ridiculous.
It almost feels like Apple is trying to be pretentious in people's faces, even though that the lawsuits are happening. It makes me feel that they're just like, you're still gonna buy it. Like, I don't even care about this law. This lawsuits mean nothing. You're still gonna buy it. Like, that's what I feel.
You know why they don't say
Apple's
anything?
pretentious?
They don't say anything to the media because they know they're guilty, and they can say that in court because they're going to get a protective order to keep secret whatever they say, because that's how courts work.
Yeah.
If they say it out in the media and admit they're guilty, which they are, then their admission is everywhere. If they admit it in court behind a protective order and they can hide behind the secrecy,
it doesn't have to
their
come
own
out.
statement can't be used against them. Exactly.
It damages the Apple brand, honestly.
I hope it does.
That's something that.
Yeah, I hope it does.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, here we go. Topic number 4. Get your sarcastic muscles warmed up. All right, just stretch it out, because we're going to dive right into this. This is quite the clip from Norman Julius Esiason. Here we go.
I don't really like the Eagles either.
See, my disdain for the Flyers actually kind of trickles into, I'm not a big, I can't stand the Phillies either, but.
No, of course, anything Philadelphia is just the pits. But if you were to say, I know that the fans are fans of all the teams. So if you got an Eagles fan, he's usually a Flyers fan, usually a Phillies fan, everything else. But if you were to pick just like a singular fan out of those teams, which one would be the worst human on earth? Would it be
the Flyers?
It would be the Flyer fan.
Yeah, I mean, look at their mascot.
I think we talked about this once years ago, but that old Flyers goal song that they used, and I swear to God, I thought they were going to have like a human sacrifice on the ice. Like, it was the scariest. It was this song. It was doot 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 doot.
It was about that German.
It might have been, but everybody was like, there was like blood coming out of their mouths. It was just like, and they were just absolutely frothing, like they were all rabid. And I was like, where am I? Like, I honestly thought that someone was going to get murdered on the ice. Like, I was like, I have to get out of here. Like, this is flat out scary, because they all had this look in their eye, like they weren't enjoying hockey or enjoying a game. Like they were about to. They were about to do some harm. They were all standing there like they were like in unison. You know, like punched each other. You're like biting the heads off of babies and stuff. Lighting their friends on fire. Face tattoos and everything. Big nose rings.
Reminds me of the new Rollerball movie.
People who cut their tongues in half so they look like snakes. Just because their team scored a goal. Because James Van Riesdyk somehow scored
Well, now that that piece of shit is over,
who is that guy?
I don't know, and I don't really care, Steve.
All right, so he shall be henceforth anonymous. Norman and anonymous.
Norman and Anonymous. Actually, I think he's tied to the New York mob, but more on him in a minute.
Wouldn't shock me.
John, you had an opening rant salvo. What do you want to say in regards to this? I don't even know what to even say, to be honest with you. Maybe I have something to say a little bit later, but go on. What do you
God,
got?
I hope you do. Can you please pay us that amount of money for that douchebag?
Yeah.
Like, can we get that? Like, we put in 10 times the work that piece of shit does. Like, he literally, and live on radio talks about sacrificing babies and lighting people on fire. And this dude, like, what is wrong with that dude?
Yeah.
And whatever the hell his name is,
Norman.
Norman Julius Esiason is over there, like yucking it up, like taking shots at the Flyers is something anybody cares about. Like, we don't care. We make fun of the Flyers. We're Flyers fans and we make fun of the Flyers.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, with that shitty of a sports town, I can see why you pick on Philadelphia. You've got literally nothing.
I can see why you haven't won a championship since 2009. That entire city hasn't won anything in quite some time. Yeah, you can fact check me on that. I haven't seen any New York teams win in like 12 years. You know,
and Eli's not yours. He belongs. He belongs to the South, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that moron that was doing that stupid monkey dance is Greg Giannotti.
No. We're gonna bleep that.
No?
We're gonna bleep that.
Oh, we're gonna
his name is anonymous. We're not gonna give him
anonymous?
We're not going to give him the publicity of using his name.
Well, let's talk about the loser on the left, Norman Julius Esiason. Yeah, this paragon of like this fantastic, had the best play action, fake you've ever seen. It's just too bad he was a loser out there on the field. 80 and 93 for his entire career. And oh, by the way, did we mention he played for the stinking New York Jets and went 15 and 27 in his career? He really stunk up the joint. He was part of that whole Marino fake spike game when the Jets coughed up a huge lead and Marino kind of did the fake spike and stuck it to him basically for the, and pretty much ruined that entire franchise that they had to basically rebrand themselves after that. He was that starting quarterback. He was part of that Rich Kotite era, that paragon of virtue. Rich Kotite, that loser. 62 and 61 in his Cincinnati debut, in his career, I should say. Guys, did you know that he was the 1988 NFL MVP?
That surprised me.
Did you also know at that time? Yeah, the NFL was racist at that time. So
100%. It was like 100%.
Read his stat for completion percentage.
Yeah, in 1988, gentlemen, Norman Julius Esiason threw for 3,572 pedestrian yards with a 57% completion percentage, 28 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. In fact, I'm going to throw up here on the card in the upper right-hand corner of our screen. The NFL Throwback Channel has Bills-Bengals 1988 AFC Championship game, which I kid you not, there is a play where I don't know how it happened, but he threw the ball perpendicularly, like kind of like up and down as opposed to the normal spiral. This ball came out up and down and it landed in James Brooks' hands by miraculous intervention. I don't know how it defied the laws of physics. And I don't know how Norman Julius Esiason made it to the Super Bowl. Actually, I do know. He got there because the Bengals defense was out of its mind that entire year, and Nicky Rhodes ran for touchdowns. This guy's a loser. This guy is an absolute loser of a quarterback. Ran over.
So, all right. You said his completion percentage was 57%. The MVP.
57%.
Yes.
What was Jalen Hurts' completion percentage last year? And we all complained that was way too low.
Yeah, I think
I'm pretty sure it was pretty close to that.
Yeah. Going to look it up here real quick, but
I think it was. That's right. I think it was close to 60%. It was closer, I think, than old Norman got.
And we were like beside ourselves. He's got to get more accurate.
By the way, yeah, I would say this. Jalen Hurts last year, 61% completion percentage.
Oh wow,
Wow.
And we weren't thrilled with that.
And we were not thrilled with that.
No.
No.
Now, John, you give the stat you found when we were looking in pre-production at Norman.
Oh, 88. Oh, the 88 year? Yeah, when he threw 5 interceptions in a game. 3 short of the record? Yeah. That same MVP year, 5 interceptions.
Oh, I didn't know it was during his MVP season. Holy cow.
Yeah, it was in 88. It's when we were talking. It was 88. He threw 5 interceptions.
You know, I actually looked it up a little bit later too, gentlemen. I wanted to compare him. Who would he compare to? You know, if you're going to put it in this generation's quarterback. And the closest I came up with was Kirk Cousins. The only difference being that,
makes sense. They're similar.
Really, they are similar to each other.
And wait a minute. Now that you brought that up, him talking about that weird goal chant. What the hell does Minnesota do?
Skull. You know, I mean,
really?
really?
Since we're on goal chance, can I?
Oh, please.
Yes,
please.
Please. All right. So Anonymous there is gonna spend 2 minutes mocking the dupe song, which is actually the Union thing that the Flyers adopted for 1 year.
Yeah.
They used it 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay. The Rangers goal song, which has gone on for as long as I can remember.
Oh.
And you're telling me they're not doing an orgy up there in the stands every time that plays and Artemi Panarin scores a goal? Hey.
Yeah, get out of here.
The only one worse in the league is the Chicago Blackhawks.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and that has going on for far too long.
The biggest point to this is these absolute uneducated, stupid morons go on these TV/radio shows and they don't even he's picking on a mascot. He doesn't have the ability to go back and actually look at stats and pick on maybe his partner, the shittiest quarterback probably ever.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna pick on a mascot. And I'm not gonna have any. I'm gonna have no facts behind it. I'm gonna use buzzwords and talk about eating babies and lighting people on fire.
Those were buzzwords.
No, but he's just using. There's no pre-production. There's no nothing. He's making it up on the spot. Is what he's doing.
Well, here's the funny part.
Yeah,
here's the funny part.
Question.
The original question was,
yeah,
which Philadelphia team's fans do you find the most? I don't remember if it was obnoxious or annoying or whatever the question was. Right?
Yeah.
Which I'll address that in a second. And his response was, "Well, it's the Flyers fans because look at Gritty." What the hell does Gritty have to do with the fans?
Yeah, exactly. The 3 or 4 year old mascot. What are we talking about here? Really?
What does that have to do with the fans being a knock? Now, if he knew anything about Philadelphia, and he should, having played in this city as an opponent, you have to know the worst fans in Philadelphia are Eagles fans.
Yeah.
Because they do the worst stuff. Okay.
Oh, no
and
question.
they're the ones who are most bloodthirsty about their team. Now, I am an Eagles fan. I'm a Philadelphia fan. I support all of them.
Yes.
But if he had any clue, the Eagles fans, if we're being honest, are the worst of the fans of the city. Right?
No question.
But he somehow goes to the Flyers.
Absolutely worse than the best.
Yeah.
But he somehow and that's the funny thing, he played football.
Yes.
He picks the Flyers fans.
Fans.
What is wrong with him?
Which it makes no sense. It's bad production is what it is. That's what they can. We please just get the money that they give us the money, and they can get the money that we do for this, because in production value we're far better than that.
Well,
I don't know how
we none of us has thrown 5 interceptions in a game, so we're not famous enough.
Yeah,
to
it's
give
true.
our,
and on top of that too, I don't know how a guy with a 57% completion percentage has any sort of like gravitas in talking about sports. Yes, he's played the game, but he was a loser quarterback. He lost more games than he played in. You know, he was lucky enough to get to the Super Bowl, but he was never like, and I'm not taking a shot at him personally, but I mean, we have to look at it in context here. I mean, there's a little bit of that too. Maybe there is.
Well, only because he went after Gritty.
Yeah,
we have to defend his honor.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Exactly right. And when you play for the Jets in one of the worst seasons, you know, I mean, in the history of that entire franchise, which is saying a whole heck of a lot, by the way.
Yes.
Because the Jets have stunk it up every single year. I mean, it says something. It says something about his career. Now,
Can you do me a favor while you're making your next point? Look
Go
up
for it.
Mark Sanchez's record as a Jets quarterback.
Please do that.
I'm wondering if his is better than Norman's.
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
this.
So
I like this live
is
interaction.
interesting. In a career, Sanchez in his entire career 37 and 36. So winning record.
Wow.
Okay.
33 and 29 as the Jets.
Wow.
Yeah. Now his
Way to
percentage
go, Mark
completion
Sanchez.
though, his completion percentage though was at 55% through for.
Yeah, but we
12,000
know he
yards.
sucks, so that's
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Like,
I mean, butt fumble is enough evidence for us.
Mark Sanchez isn't being touted as the greatest quarterback ever. Boomer Esiason is. That's what we're saying. Like,
That's the difference.
But Mark Sanchez had a better record quarterbacking the New York Jets than Norman.
This is
Just a
also
fact.
interesting too. As you guys know, Mark Sanchez did play for the Philadelphia Eagles 2014 and 15.
yeah, he
He
was
went
there.
4 and 6. He went 4 and 6 in his career for the Eagles.
Yeah, he was here.
But here's the thing. The completion percentage. 55% for the Jets. 64% for the Eagles. 64%. That's like 9 points higher.
And I would like to personally thank Mark Sanchez for helping us beat the Cowboys
Yes.
on Thanksgiving.
How
Yes.
about that, Glenn?
Was a delight.
Thanks,
That
bud.
was a delight.
We love
We
it.
appreciate
we,
you, bud.
we love it when a backup quarterback comes in and takes care of business. A la your jersey. A la Mark Sanchez, not Garner. Sit down, son.
No.
Someone's going to show you how to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it just goes to show you that, you know, I think, John, to your earlier point, you're exactly right. Some of these guys just do not know how to really, like, behave themselves, to be perfectly honest. Like, you've seen this all
100.
throughout, really. Like, in some of these sports talk shows, they do it for the ratings. They do it for, you know, to get the buzz. They don't do it because they're intellectual. They don't do it because they're, you know, they
That's
think
why
about
he
it.
got up from his microphone. If you really want to break production down, that's why he got up at his microphone. He's a fool.
Yeah.
He's a fool.
Yeah.
He's
Does
unhinged.
that make me a fool?
No.
No.
You no.
I did it satirically.
Exactly.
You plan and no. Let's just talk serious about broadcasting. Like, even to break them down even more, Steve. You plan everything you do.
Mhm.
You don't just go off the cuff and it's not. Oh, I need to do it right now. That kind of that should concern the people that pay him. That's he's gonna mess up one time and say something that is gonna get him canceled. And just watching that I don't watch that show often. Just watching that once, that is not a well-run program at all. And I'm even taking shots at the video directors. I'm talking the production meetings. That is not run well. That is a circus, and that circus is going to derail. It really is.
Oh, no question. Johnny, did you know that broadcast replaced the Don Imus show back in the day?
Wow.
Steve and I looked that up in pre-production. Don Imus had that slot, and it came over, and it was actually Boomer and Carton was the first one, Craig Carton. And if you remember, Craig Carton.
Tell him what happened to Carton.
Craig Carton's a piece of shit. You don't even have to. You don't have to tell me about Craig Carton. I used to like Craig Carton until he became a piece of shit.
Exactly.
Craig Carton was on WIP with G Cobb for the longest time, and then he lost his ever-loving mind and got fired because he's a piece of shit and went national.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm looking it up here real quick to tell the listeners what happened. Yeah, Craig Carton was arrested by federal agents at his home in New York City on criminal charges of securities fraud, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit those offenses. Oops. Carton and 2 others are alleged.
And that was after he was a piece of shit in Philly.
Yeah. Carton and 2
because he was a racist piece of shit that got fired.
Yeah, you done? Okay. Carton and 2 associates are alleged to have run a Ponzi scheme that defrauded $5.6 million from investors by falsely claiming they had access to millions of dollars of concert tickets at face value through non-existent agreements with concert promoters. Yeah. They allegedly used the funds from new investors to cover millions of dollars of gambling debts.
Oops.
That's the reason why he was arrested.
That's some great company Norman's keeping up there.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, we haven't even gotten to the other thing we discussed, which is, he picks on Flyer fans not recognizing what happened and what we discussed on this program earlier last year in the playoffs when a New York Ranger fan sucker punched a Tampa Bay Lightning fan on the way out of MSG.
Yeah. And you didn't hear anything about that from those 2 knuckleheads, did you?
Yeah, what do you have to say about that, Norman?
Yeah, nothing in that regard. Nothing. So, tit for tat, pal. If you're going to come at gritty, guess what? 2 Noobs is going to stand up for you. So, in that regard, we're going to stand up for our mascot and not take anything else lying down. That's for darn sure. So, anything else, guys, before we get the hell out of here? Johnny?
I want to
go Birds.
Go Birds.
I'm going to mimic a few more New York fans and hit myself in the head with this hammer.
There you go. Well, that's going to happen later on tonight when we're all watching the game.
There you go. Go Birds. And
go Birds.
Until then, see you all next week for episode 122. Take care. Hey, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Two Noobs Talking. If you want to see more of Two Noobs, you can check us out on our various social media platforms located right here. Until then, see you next week with another episode of Two Noobs Talking. Take care.